Alright everybody, welcome to our iPad training today. And for today we're going to be looking at a new app, and that specific app is going to be iMovie. But before we get to iMovie, we're going to talk about a few different things. First off, the role of the iPads and giving a couple of specific pointers and guidelines, let's say. Then looking at AirDrop settings and how we can do that a little bit differently potentially, and talking about saving images from the internet, because that is going to be very significant now that we're using iMovie, and this will also impact things like presentations whenever we get into Keynote as well. Then we're going to move into iMovie, and you have a challenge today with iMovie that will definitely take some time, so let's get moving right away. First off, with the role of the iPads. One thing that's been noticed by many teachers, and I can tell you that I also noticed this as well as I walked around on the most recent challenge day, is the reality that many students are losing track of the point of these iPads. This exact slide was shown on day one, and it said, why are we doing training with the iPads? And the point was that while you do know how to use it as a gaming device, we need to make sure that you know how to use it effectively and productively. It's not to say that we need to get very scary and threatening here with this, but the reality is that if there are students who are playing games during the school day, during any time of work, there will be consequences issued out, and those are going to be coming very, very soon. And there's going to be a very specific policy coming as well. It's something to be aware of, and just have that in the back of your mind. So that means at the beginning of class, if you think that you're ready to go, or at the end of class, if you feel like you've finished the work that you needed to, and previously you may have pulled out a game and started playing that, that's no longer going to be allowed, and again, there will be consequences. So my suggestion to you, keep the games off the entire school day. If you want to do them at home, and your parents allow you, that's one thing. At school, though, cut the games. And keep in mind, you also did sign to an agreement that states a lot of these specific things. Specifically with, right here, we have no media belongs on your iPad that is not for educational purposes. And the very first one, which is, I will only use my iPad for educational purposes. And by the way, don't try to pull the, 2048 is very, very good for my logic skills. Well, I might agree with you. It doesn't belong in the school day. Okay, now on to some other things. This is a really quick one here. AirDrop settings. Many of you are leaving your AirDrop on all day long, and that's really not needed at all. All it's going to do is eat your battery up, just so you know that. So when your Bluetooth is on, which is how AirDrop connects, that does eat away at your battery very quickly. So what we would like is for everybody to turn off your Bluetooth during the day unless you have a need to use it. There's nothing wrong with using AirDrop at all, and this isn't. It's not really about that. It's more about the fact that we don't want you wasting your battery and having that up all day long, and potentially having people accidentally share something with you that you don't really need. Because given that we have a lot of people with the same names, an easy mistake definitely could be made. So let's turn off AirDrop unless you need to use it during the day. Okay, on to some new things that are pretty significant here. Internet images and resolution. So starting today, there is going to be a need for you to go and find images off the internet. Now, let's say this first. So we have these two images of iMovie. I'm assuming that you can spot the differences that we have between the two. And now forget about the outline on the one on the left. But when you look at the quality of the coloring, you can definitely see the one on the left is very pixelated, or very pixely, right? So how can we make sure that we don't run into that problem? Another example is this. Like, let's say you find an image in Google Images and it looks good, it's just small, and you think to yourself, hey, I'm just going to increase the size of it. What happens over time is it continually gets more pixelated, and it gets to the point where you can't even tell what that is. So the suggestion that I have for you is this. Whenever you look at images, there are two different ways that you can go about figuring out what type of image is appropriate. First, if you see the numbers that are associated with it, this is the resolution, you can see the actual sizes that that's going to be. If you get one that is in the 1000s, that means you're getting an image that is pretty solid and pretty large early on. Something else you need to recognize as well is you might not notice the difference in, let's say, a 320 by 240 when you're looking at it just on your iPad. But remember, if somebody blows this up and they look at it, and by blow it up I mean expanding it, let's say on a Promethean board or on a screen for a presentation, it's going to really be clear how pixely it actually is as it gets put up on that large screen. So that's something to keep in mind. But nonetheless, my suggestion to you is if you get something that gets up into the 1000s, you're in good shape. If not, you need to go back and look at that image. Okay, sometimes you can get away with these 800 by 600s, but when you get too low, especially anything that gets in the 100s or 200s is the highest number that you have, that's a problem, and you do need to get a better quality image. Something cool that you might not be aware of, and this will be something that we come back to later on as well. Within Google Images, and Google has all kinds of amazing search filters that we will go through, but for now let's just talk about one in specific. If you're searching images on Google and you click on Search Tools, it will give you this menu here that has all kinds of different things that you can do, which is really a pretty cool thing. What I did here is I just clicked on Size and then selected Large. And by selecting a large size, or excuse me, large, that filters out all the results that are not large images. So those 200 by 300 images, they don't even show up. And that's really nice for you because you don't have to worry about it. Then all that you do is you click on whatever image you would like. So let's say you click on, I don't remember which one it was, but let's say it's that one. And then you click and hold on that image once it's been opened. You can then come in here and save the image, and then it goes right to your camera roll and it's ready to use. And if you look over here, you can see the resolution I was talking about, which is 920 by 1101. Again, we're in the thousands, so that's a good one. Okay, that's how you can save some images, and you can use those for all different types of purposes on your iPad. Now let's get into iMovie here. iMovie allows you to do two different things, and it is obviously a movie creator. You can create two different types of movies, though. You can either create trailers, which are fun little pre-organized types of videos. With these typically, and I haven't seen any ones that go against this, but there might be some new ones, you typically are not going to have any of your own sound that is on there. It's going to be background music that's already playing, and it will give you little small snippets, and it might say, okay, add in 3 seconds of video here, add in 2 seconds here, and at the end it creates some sort of a project with a theme, and it's cute and fun and everything else. But in truth, I'm not envisioning that being what you really want to use for educational purposes quite as much. On the other side, we have the movie style. A movie just allows you to organize your videos, your pictures, your music, whatever you have, to make one large file. If you want to make a video documentary, let's say, which is something informative that I would imagine many of you will do this year, the movie file is the way that you want to go. This has a lot more flexibility and allows you to do a lot of things on your own. So once you get in here and you start creating this, you'll be able to play with a lot of the features and see how they work. Which brings us to the iMovie challenge. And remember the rules: you can't touch anybody else's iPad, and don't be scared to press some buttons. It's important to try, right? Here's our checklist. First, you're going to be creating a new movie with any style template. You'll see once you click in what this means. Next, you want to add in a high-resolution image from the internet. So you need to go find something using Google Images, something that is appropriate for this specific topic. Next, you need to adjust your image that only plays for 2.3 seconds. And you're thinking, why 2.3? Well, it's because I want you to see the timer that you have in there, and I want you to have to make the adjustment to something specific. You will see how it works, not a big deal. And something else that you might want to play with is there's something called a Ken Burns effect that they have here. Ooh, my handwriting with the pen on the pen on PowerPoint is not so great. But there's a Ken Burns feature which makes it so that you can crop the beginning and ends, and it kind of smoothly goes throughout. That's something you might want to play with. If you need help with that, ask an expert in your class. Next, you need to add in a video. You can either do this from a camera roll, which would mean that you already have one saved on your iPad that you've taken before on your own, or you can have one that is recorded on the spot. You can actually go and just record right then, and it will save it into iMovie for you. To me, it's unimportant which way you do this. Next, I want you to edit the video clip. So you're going to add in the video, then you need to edit the video clip by taking away a portion of the clip from the beginning as well as a portion of the clip from the end of the original video clip. In other words, we want you to take out the middle piece. Why is this an important item? Because we want you to see how you can organize and edit your content so you don't have a lot of fluff and extra stuff in your video. I can tell you I do a lot of work with videos, and one of the biggest problems that I see is when the editing is poor and there's an extra few seconds that don't really help what you're trying to accomplish in your video, and it takes away from the quality. So make sure you learn how to edit out those pieces. Next, you need to add in some text. I'll give you a hint. It says title there, and that's going to be what you want to click on for that. Adding a voiceover. Voiceover is just a recording of your voice. There's a microphone icon that you can use for this. Sound effect. There's a button called audio that you might want to look at. Then we need you to save it, okay? So look at how you can save it. A hint, you're going to have to back out of this to save it. And then we're going to export it to your camera roll. And by the way, it's very important that everybody has something saved to their camera roll, because the next one we're going to be doing next week is on a really cool app called Rasma, and it's going to require that you have a video created already, so make sure you do this. In terms of the theme of your movie, you can do whatever you like. The theme that I really was hoping people would follow is what I want to accomplish in 7th grade. I think that would be a cool video theme, but I don't want you to focus too much on that. Instead, I just want you to understand how to use the different features and make sure that you become comfortable with that by the end of this training module. So hopefully you're ready to go here with iMovie by the end of this, and hopefully that explanation was clear as well. Teachers, if you would like to see the explanation of how to complete each of these, stay tuned on this video. Okay, teachers, now let's look at how we can actually use the iMovie app effectively in this training and also even beyond and in your classes. To start off, we open up the iMovie app and it takes us to this screen. Yours will be blank. I have a couple samples that I've been playing with here. If we look in the top right corner, we have the plus sign, which allows us to add in different types of films. The trailer is more fun. It's more fancy and silly, and you can get the general idea if you click on the play button here. It will give you a little run through as to what it is. I'm going to envision that not many of you are going to want to use this for your classes. Maybe if you want to do a trailer of like a novel, let's say, you might find this to be something that could be worthwhile. But by and large, I'd say most of you are going to be wanting to create movie projects. So let's click on movie. It gives you these different themes that you can use. It's not really overly significant which type you use. There might be specific things that you think would work better, like for instance there's the TV news report that you may want to use. In some cases I'm just going to stick with the basic modern one, and let's create the movie. Okay, now what can you do here? There are a couple different things that I want you to focus on. If you look in the top right hand corner, we have video, photos, and audio. These are different things that you can add in. It's going to first ask you if you want to give access to your camera roll. Obviously select yes. But when you do that, it allows you then to start adding things in. So let's say first off I'm going to add in that little picture of explain everything. You can see that it comes in here. You can see if you look over on the right it says 6 seconds. That's telling you how long this is in here. And then there's something else that's kind of interesting here is you can see that it's moving along the screen. This is the Ken Burns effect, and I alluded to that in the previous video. If you want to change where everything is, you can actually come in, and let's do this right here. And now that I have it highlighted over on the left, so if you look over here, the line is lined up with the very beginning of this. Wherever I move this to is how it's going to be showing up in the beginning of the Ken Burns effect. So that's where it is now, and if I go to the end of this, I can then change it and make it focus differently. So if you see the beginning I zoomed into, the end I chose where I wanted it to end up at. That's how we select that. Now how can you actually edit within these timelines? Something pretty easy is this. If you have a picture, you just tap so that you have the yellow bars on the side, and then you just drag the yellow bar back. As I'm doing that, notice what's happening to the seconds right there. It's going from 6 all the way down to 3, and we'll put it at 2.7. There we go. And now, again, we have a 2.2 little clip there with an image. That's how you can add in an image. When we add in the videos. So what you need to do first is you click up top on your videos, and then it gives you the ability to choose what videos you would like to look at. Now, if you have created your own different labels for your videos, it will organize them for you, which is something that can be kind of nice. But nonetheless, we're just going to come up here and look at one. So let's say I click on this video here, and this is the one I want to use. Now, if I push the down arrow right here that I'm highlighting, it's going to make it so that it just puts the whole video clip down on the bottom. If you only want a small clip of it, you just change the sides and move them to where you would like it to record, or excuse me, to be included from. Then you push the down arrow, and you can see that it extends down, and now that is in our video. And if I push play, you'll be able to hear a little bit of sound, if I have my sound on. Okay, which I don't. But you can add it in like that. And if you want to do similar types of editing, you can also do it down here when it's already in the timeline, dragging the yellow on the side in whatever direction, and it will make those changes for you. So those are some ways that you can play with that. Now, we also have to add in a title, or excuse me, some text. So if you click on title, it will allow you to add in some text. So what I might want to say here is, we'll just say thanks. go. And now you can see that as it moves over and we press play to test this out, thanks is going to pop up and it shows up on the side there. That's how you can add text. Again, that was simply just going down after you've clicked on the specific clip, choosing title, and then it gives you all kinds of different options. If you would like to change some of the ways that it goes in, you can click on the T over on the side, as there are some other neat little features that you can use as well. Something else here that I'm clicking on, just a little side note for you, you can do some other neat little changes within here if you click on the settings wheel, something you may want to explore, or at least encourage the students to explore. Now, let's say you have a lot of images and you just want to add some voiceovers in here so that you can actually explain what everything is. If you click over towards the bottom right on the microphone icon, it says, "Are you ready to record?" So basically what you need to do is click over wherever you would like this to go in, push record, it gives you your countdown, and now we are going. So here we go, that's the Explain Everything app, and this is our wonderful office. Let's push stop, let's review it. And again, I don't have my volume on, so you can't really hear it. Let's put some volume up. There we go. So that's the real quick way of how you can add in all of those features. Now, if you would like to add in a sound effect, let's say, we have audio up here in the top right. I'm going to say accept, excuse me. We have audio in the top right. We can go find sound effects. We might say, okay, let's add in some applause at the end. And we'll push down. So let's add in the applause right over there. Push down, and now we have the applause added in, and it will work. Again, the volume is off due to my airplane that I'm using here. Now, let's say you're all done. You've created your little video, you're content, you love it. How do you save it? What do you do with it? If we come to the top left and click on the back arrow, it's going to send us back here to the home screen, and it shows us this information, you know, like where it says My Movie 1. If you click right there, you can change this, and we can call this Sample Movie. And there we go, now we have it saved there. It tells us how long it is, and it also tells us when it was last modified, which is good for us to know too. When you're done with it, let's say you're done, you've built this, you're ready, you want to be able to use it somewhere else. If you click on the up arrow, it allows you to do a lot of different things with this, including sending this to other locations. Now what we want to do here is save this as a video file. So if you look in the bottom left there, that will save it to our camera roll. We click that, it allows us to choose which size. I accidentally just right there selected 1080p, which is the largest file size. Medium 360p will be pixely, so I would suggest not using that. But 720 is probably a good size, that's pretty appropriate. We export it, we save it. It's now going to be in our camera roll, and we can access this whenever we would like and go back and watch it. Okay? So there we go, there's our rundown of how to use the iMovie app, and again, I hope that was helpful.